Do you understand what your customers want, and can you predict what they'll need? With rapidly changing consumer behavior, no one knows shoppers better than Merkle. You need more than a media, creative, or technology agency. You need a business partner, a partner that can bring new revenue opportunities, build customer-obsessed strategies, and guide you through uncharted commerce channels. We've collaborated with more than 300 clients in the retail, consumer goods, and restaurant industries, and we're ready to collaborate with you. Visit Merkle.com to learn more. Merkle, customer experience reimagined.
Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I'm Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail, and I'm pleased to be joined on today's episode by Chris Wantlin, who is the Chief Retail Officer at Ashley. Chris and I are going to be talking about Ashley's rebrand from Ashley Home Store, as well as its refresh of its stores across the United States. So thanks for joining me today, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me.
So as I noted, Ashley Home Store has recently rebranded to the word Ashley. So let's talk a little bit about the thinking behind that decision and tell our audience why Ashley is the right brand name now going forward.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the goal of the rebrand was about creating really a simpler and more modern look and feel across all of our touch points. We felt by shortening the name, refreshing the logo while improving the shopping experience, it gives us not only a great rebrand story to tell on our marketing and e-commerce channels, but also really creates a brand and store footprint that is more appealing to a wider customer base. At the end of the day, the rebrand and refresh is all about staying relevant to today's consumer.
So as you think about the rebrand, obviously Ashley has been around for a while. I'm curious to know what will be different in terms of the experience, the in-store experience in particular for customers that is kind of inclusive of this rebrand.
Yeah, I think it really starts with us conveying the same great value Ashley's always been known for. We're a merchant-led organization and feel that the assortment is king. After all, the product is what the consumer is looking for. With that, we felt by refreshing the assortment, getting fresh looks into our stores, and cleaning up our displays, we could appeal to a new segment of customers while still maintaining the same value story that existing customers have come to expect from us. With the cleaner shopping experience to complement our refreshed assortment, we have repainted our stores, removed walls, improved our signage inside and outside of the store, and just made it easier for customers to navigate and shop our stores. The cleaner experience really lets the product be the hero.
So as you think about that modern consumer and not just the younger shopper, but also the existing Ashley customer, what will be different for them as they go through this rebrand? Or maybe things won't be completely different. Maybe talk a little bit about the perspective of your customers as part of this rebrand.
Yeah, I think it's really about refreshing the look and feel, elevating the brand. I think we wanted to make a more elevated and cleaner look for us, and really about our assortment, refreshing our assortment, getting our assortment right, getting our stores relevant, making it a cleaner shopping experience for all of them.
So as you undergo a initiative like this, a major rebrand, there's probably steps that you're planning and taking both for your online properties as well as your offline physical stores to bring consumer awareness to this rebrand and what it means for Ashley's customers. Talk us through a little bit about the actions you've taken there to kind of make consumers aware that this rebrand is happening.
Yeah, I think we're very much updating our marketing, elevating our marketing, doing more brand activation events, getting that younger consumer and existing consumers that maybe haven't experienced the Ashley brand in several years. With furniture, it's a life cycle type of purchase where maybe they haven't been to our stores in maybe 3 to 5 years, and so we want to make sure that they're aware that we're refreshing our look and refreshing our feel, and we've got a fresh assortment inside of our stores. So really elevating that website experience, elevating our store facades, remodeling, refreshing the inside of our stores. And then as we get those stores refreshed and remodeled and our website activated, it's really about getting brand refresh campaigns in each one of those markets to let the customers know that we've got a brand to look for them to come see.
I would imagine as you're going through that, the work of your team on the digital side of the business, also working probably with store operations and marketing teams, you're collaborating to kind of get this messaging out to customers. From an internal perspective at Ashley, how did that process work in terms of the stakeholders involved and a little bit about that timeline as well?
Yeah, I mean, really, the rebrand started with an internal work with an agency on really understanding our customer segments and where we index really well and where we have opportunities. And so it was a joint effort between marketing, the digital teams, the store teams, to truly understand how we could better be relevant with all of the customers, and targeting segments where we're I would say where we're underpenetrated. So there was a lot of internal alignment probably over the last 2 years as we built out what we call Ashley's 7.0 model. So Ashley's, since 2006 has been the number one furniture retailer in North America. And as we've grown our store footprint, we've gone through what is now 7 iterations of our store design. And so as we went to look and define the 7.0 design, it was a lot of internal stakeholders that were part of that, whether it be interior design, our merchandising team, our marketing team, our online team. But all of us came together to really define what that new brand would look like, and that's how we came up with the refresh. And internally, everyone was very much aligned on what 7.0 needed to look like.
So, Chris, you've talked about this store refresh. Tell us a little bit about what the experience will be like for the in-store shopper. What will be different for them as they enter an Ashley store?
Yeah, so we've really taken an approach of elevating our experience, and so it starts really when the customer walks into the store. Our front entry now is what we call our trend area. So quarterly, we'll be resetting the front entries of our stores to make sure that we're staying on trend. Things like Japandi, different pieces like this, where we've got looks that are trending, and we'll assort the front end of our stores to really look that way. Then as you go to the right of our store, which is where naturally most customers go, we've got what we call our better best assortment. So really elevated looks at extreme values where you'd maybe spend $8,000 or $8,000 to $10,000 for a sofa at a lifestyle retailer. We've got those same looks in the $3,000 range. And then as you continue on the store, we get into our modern contemporary looks. Then as we get to the back of the store, where we call our casual dining. A lot of our value shopper would go back to the back end of our stores. We've got what we call a motion gallery in the center of our stores, where we really feature a lot of our motion product. We've redone all of our bedding galleries to elevate the look and feel of our bedding galleries. So as we put mattresses in the backside of our stores, it's really elevating that experience and focusing on being a mattress retailer. And then as you continue on the left hand side of the store, it's more of our traditional looks that Ashley has been typically known for. So, and we've got just product stories put together there. And part of the experience for through all of these different looks is, we've elevated our POP, we've elevated our price tags, making our price tags much easier for them to learn about the product, to understand the product, to understand what the pricing is, offering great financing options for us. And so it's just an elevated experience all the way across the board.
So, Ashley's stores in the Atlanta market, Los Angeles, Orlando, Tampa, and Salt Lake City are the first to undergo kind of this brand refresh. And talk a little bit about why those markets were chosen first as kind of the first initial phase of this rebrand and store refresh.
Yeah, so we have a licensing model. So we have 134 licensees across the nation that make up our 815 stores in North America. And so with the combination of enterprise owned and licensee owned and operated stores, the markets that you mentioned, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Orlando, Tampa, Salt Lake City, these are markets that are enterprise owned. So we started with these markets mainly because we own and operate them ourselves, and felt like this would be the best path for us to get it right and really be what good looks like for our licensee community.
How about the store associates in those locations as you kind of roll this out? Was there a lot of uh, training, or as they may be fielding questions from customers about the different look and feel within the Ashley stores? How did they kind of get up to speed and ready for this brand, a store refresh in those particular markets?
Yeah, a lot of training for the associates themselves, store managers themselves, really trying to explain to them what we're doing with the assortment, how we're grouping things together from an assortment perspective. Really, it's about getting the brand right, brand relevant, and for them it was for them to understand that. It starts with product. For us, it's about product first. People don't accidentally walk into a furniture store, so we wanted to make sure we got our product right. So a lot of product training, a lot of product knowledge training, a lot of pricing refreshes. Really from an omni-channel perspective, aligning online with in-store to build that trust with that customer and making it a more seamless shopping experience. And so a lot of training with them. Really, we've got what we call 15 product stories inside of our stores now with the 7.0 model, and really making sure that they can explain those product stories to those customers.
So we talked about some of those new market, or not new, but those existing markets where the first store refreshes are happening. What's the timeline like for the other markets, other stores under the Ashley banner that will be getting these refreshes nationwide?
Yeah, well, as you can imagine, there's a lot that goes into refreshes for us. There's a lot of the product refreshes. There's full remodels of our stores, facades being redone. For us, we're focusing very heavily on our 120 owned enterprise stores across the nation, and we expect to have all of those redone interior wise and majority of our facades done by the end of 2023. And then our expectation is for our licensee community to have all their stores completed by the end of 2024.
And then you talked a little bit about the omni-channel shopping journey, Chris, and particularly in a category with high ticket category like furniture. It's not just a kind of a rapid purchase cycle. There's really a lot of thought that goes into the purchase of furniture. So talk about how digital and e-commerce fits into this rebrand, particularly as it relates to those shoppers potentially crossing between channels, shopping in stores, in Ashley stores as well, and ultimately that the channel where they may make their purchase might be in store, but they've done a lot of research and kind of understanding the product beginning online.
Yeah, it's a great question and something that we've been working very hard at. I would say for us with the store remodels, it would be the first time for us since we launched our e-commerce back in 2015, where we feel like probably our stores are getting ahead, got a little bit ahead of our digital and our e-commerce part of the business, and so we've been working very feverishly to get our e-commerce uh, uplifted and elevated brand experience to match what we have inside the store. And a lot of that goes along with the omni-channel pricing, making sure we're aligned both online and in store with our offers, with our pricing, making the pricing so much easier for customers to understand, as well as the other omni-channel functionality where if I want to see it in store and different pieces like that, where if a person goes to the PDP page, they can see where it may be on display on a store near them. So a lot of that different functionality being brought to the forefront with the 7.0 refresh as well.
Yeah, and for that kind of capability for the customer, that omni-channel experience, there's a lot of technology and systems, is particularly as it relates to some of the example you gave, that inventory transparency. So, are all the stores kind of similar in the product they carry, or it really depends on store by store basis, even within individual markets?
Yeah, so we have what we call a national core assortment. So we have about 20,000 square foot store assortment that would be consistent across all of our stores. And our average store size is probably about a 35,000 square feet. So about 20,000 of that will be a core national assortment. And then that other 15,000 square feet, and obviously we do have stores that are bigger than that, that goes into what we call a regional assortment. So, the customer in Texas has a different taste than a customer in Miami than a customer in New York City. So we try to assort our stores regionally to the customer preference.
Great. Well, I want to take the opportunity to thank Chris Wantlin, who is the Chief Retail Officer at Ashley, for joining us on today's episode of Total Retail Talks. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talk.
From building customer-obsessed strategies and activations to forging partnerships across technology and media platforms, no one knows shoppers better than Merkle. Visit Merkle.com to transform your shoppers' experiences.